welcome to this crash course AP Macroeconomics video project for our class. And today I will be talking about the economic philosophers of the past up until very recently, and their impacts on us today in society and economics, and their main values and ideas that they had and theories. So first off is Adam Smith, because it's the best way to start off, because he laid basically the foundation, and he's considered the father of modern economics, especially here in the West. So he believed in basically three core values, and one of which was laissez-faire, which in English means let them do or let them be, and this means no government intervention in the market, a free market, because he believed that if you didn't have any price ceilings, price floors, taxation, tariffs, then the open market would be better off, because with the government intervention that lacks efficiency and doesn't allow for that great, you're losing money basically. So he was very much against government involvement and much for a free market. Also, he believed in the, he created the idea of the invisible hand. And this invisible hand states the unobservable market force that helps the demand and supply of goods in a free market to reach equilibrium automatically. And this was stated in his novel, The Wealth of Nations, which he released, and this is very significant in economics. Also, he believed in, created really the idea of absolute advantage. Now, let's take an example. USA and Philippines. Now, the USA, let's say, has 15 bales of hay and 10 barrels of corn. And the Philippines has 5 bales of hay and 5 barrels of corn. Now, if you see these, the USA has a significant more of quantity of both the bales of hay and the barrels of corn than does the Philippines. So they will be better off not trading with them, because they have all the supplies that they need, and they would be losing, in fact, to trade with the Philippines. Now, when we get over to such people as David Ricardo, he believed mostly with Adam Smith on the ideas of laissez-faire. However, he built on his idea of absolute advantage and said, made an idea called comparative advantage. And this basically said that you would benefit the two countries interacting with each other. So let's go back to that idea. The USA has the 15 and 15 for the bales of hay and the barrels of corn, and the Philippines has 5 and 5, the bales of hay and the barrels of corn. Now, if they were to, let's say, the USA specialize and put all their resources into creating the bales of hay, and the Philippines to specialize in the barrels of corn and put all the resources into making that and none into hay, then the two countries could trade for the opposite product that they need. This trade would benefit both countries because they'd be getting both products, and it would very much help both countries in the long run. The next philosopher we're going to be talking about is Thomas Malthus. Now, Thomas Malthus believed that there's wage gaps. There's the higher tier, or today the 1% or something like that, and the lower tier. Now, the lower tier, he believed, their wages should not be increased. And this was significant because he thought that if the wages are increased, then you could buy more. You could buy more food. You could produce more families. Not more families. More people in your family, have more children. And he believed that both the more children and the higher wage would result in them buying more food. And this would lead to, in Europe and the world in general, a massive food drainage. And this massive food drainage would lead to mass hysteria, mass dying out, starvation, panic, crisis, chaos all over the world. However, this is yet to happen, and so far it's proven wrong. Now, next up we have John Maynard Keynes. I mess up his name sometimes, I apologize for that. And he had Keynesian economics and the economic theory of total spending in the economy and its effects on output and inflation. And he believed that the government should spend more, and this would help them get out of a recession or depression. Now, this is significant because this is during the time of the Great Depression in the 1920s and 30s, or the late 20s and the 30s, because he believed that if the government spent more, they'd help to get out of the depression. And this was so impactful at the time that President FDR, or Franklin Delano Roosevelt, if you want his full name, believed that this would really help the government to get out of it. And as a result, he made the New Deal, which had large amounts of the Keynesian economics in it. And this really helped to stimulate the country, which eventually got out of the Great Depression. And the next person we have is Milton Friedman, who was an American economist and statistician, best known for his strong belief in free market capitalism. Now, free market capitalism is very similar to laissez-faire in that, let me get the definition here. It says an economic system in which prices are determined by unrestricted competition between privately owned businesses. This is almost exactly like laissez-faire and almost the exact opposite of Keynesian economics, in that there's no government intervention, no tariffs or taxes, very little, if any. And while Keynesian economics believes that there should be tons of government intervention and tons of government spending and taxes and tariffs and things like that. Now, the last person we have is Karl Marx. He's very different from the rest of these people because he believed that everybody should be equal. He believed in decreasing the rates of profit, increasing the concentration of the wealth, and the equalization of people and the lack of tiers in the classes. So this is today known as communism, and obviously what we see in the 1980s or the 40s up until the 1990s, actually, especially in the 1980s when it was at its height or slowing down, I should say, we see the USSR and the United States, communism versus capitalism, and the free market, which is the United States, versus, or almost free market capitalism, I should say, versus the communism in the Soviet Union. And the communism is everybody's free, the government controls everything, they control the wages, everybody has an assigned job, and they all get paid the exact same. And that is it has a very big impact on history because these are two competing ideals. And some countries, there are 5 today, which practice communism to this very day. So that's it for us today on the philosophers. And yep, those are basically the economic philosophers that have a significant impact: Adam Smith, David Ricardo, Thomas Malthus, John Maynard Keynes, Milton Friedman, and Karl Marx. So thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.